Sports Football Friday Live, the last one of the season, lads. It's sad times, however, we've got an action-packed show for you in store today. I hope you're looking forward to it. And a star-studded panel, including the Independent's Jack Pitt-Brooke. We've got the most successful thing to happen to Sunderland this season in David Priest. And also the most incredibly smug Manchester United fan on the social. It's Richie Driss, the man who just will not leave me alone on WhatsApp after Wednesday night. Now, lots to talk about today, including the FA Cup final. Wenger's swan song. Could it be history in the making? Is he going to become the most successful FA Cup manager of all time? Or is he going to leave on an extremely sour note? We're going to have all the transfer news, including breaking news of Bernardo Silva's move to Manchester City. Incredible amounts of money being thrown around by Pep Guardiola, even though he only needs a defence. They're signing wingers. I mean, I don't know where to look. But we've also got the How Hard Challenge, which is going to be possibly one of the best of the season. You have an Everton superstar, an England international. I'm not going to tell you anymore. You're going to have to hang on for that. But let's take a quick look and see exactly what else is coming up on today's show.
I don't think that's the one.
You don't like that one?
No.
Didn't enjoy that one?
I don't think so.
Because I was thinking that was a hell of a strike.
City had captured the feelings of the people of Manchester by tweeting a picture with the City United hashtag at the final whistle.
I don't care about me, I care about us winning the game on Saturday.
It really does. So, you know, for me, give me Jurgen Klopp any day. Piss off, Carragher. Sure.
I don't really care what other people think. It's a celebration between me and the Chelsea fans.
Now, as per usual, we want you guys to get involved at home by leaving comments, by tweeting us, by getting us on Facebook, YouTube and all that malarkey, and with news on how you can get involved. And today's vote, it's Richie on the social.
It is. How are you?
Stop. We're not going to do this yet, all right? We can delay this for a second.
Okay, right, let's get into the vote. So, the very, very last vote of the season. We want to know if you have an unsung hero of the season so far. And, of course, you can vote on Facebook using the icons. So, personally, my unsung hero is Arsene Wenger. Hit the heart button if he is yours as well, for reasons that we'll come on to in a second. If you're being involved on Facebook, hit the laughing face for Claudio Bravo, the sad face for David Moyes, and the wow face for Manchester United's Marouane Fellaini, who I have to say played very, very well on Wednesday night. Get involved on Twitter as well using the hashtag 888FFL. Gents, who are your heroes of the season, unsung or otherwise?
I don't know about you, you were trying to influence the vote there.
Yeah.
Wasn't it a little bit influence?
Yeah,
I'm not.
Absolutely. Yeah, but my hero would be, I would pick Arsene Wenger because he's provided me with the most entertainment this season.
Oh, you're a funny guy today. You've got the funny bone on you today.
And to be fair, Marouane Fellaini, while I have thrown a lot of abuse at him, I'll be the first to admit that. I take all of it back because he does come through and play very, very well.
Why didn't you include Vincent Janssen? 20 million striker with one Premier League goal.
20 million striker, one Premier League goal.
In open play. And
of course, yeah. Dive into our comments if you'd like to nominate Vincent Janssen, because that's a very good shout.
Now, Jack, I understand that you are a Manchester City fan, and with Bernardo Silva putting pen to paper today in Manchester for his medical, I think the deal's been all wrapped up now. Is that exciting? How good is this guy?
He's an unbelievably good player. I've seen him a few times this season play for Monaco. He's one of the best players I've seen play outside of like the biggest teams and players.
Right.
He's got incredible touch, incredible vision. He works really, really hard. He's actually reminds you an awful lot of David Silva. And it's very natural that he could be the long-term replacement to David Silva. He's only 22, but he plays with the kind of assurance of a veteran. And I know City have thrown a huge amount of money at him. I think it's £43 million up front with another £26 million of add-ons.
Wow.
So it's the same deal. It's a similar deal to the one that Manchester United bought Anthony Martial with 2 years ago.
Right.
But I think he's absolutely worth every penny. He's an incredible player. He's going to do so well at City.
I mean, it's great stuff. The transfer window, silly season, is almost upon us, officially opening on the 1st of the month, I believe. I mean, I dread to think what City are going to pull off this summer, but Manchester United having qualified for the Champions League, I'd imagine that they'd be in the races as well.
Well, I heard today that City are planning on spending £300 million this
summer. Stop. 300 million!
And I don't imagine United will spend much less than that.
How is anyone else meant to compete unless you have a bottomless pit of cash.
Sunderland are supposed to be spending £112 million in the summer as well, but that's only if they win Euro Millions tonight.
Incredible. Now, it is obviously the FA Cup final tomorrow, and ahead of the game, Arsene Wenger was asked yet again, shock horror, whether it would be his last game in charge.
Will the cup final, will the outcome of it have any bearing on
No.
you? Why not?
And why? I return the question to you. Why?
Well, because some people would say you win the FA Cup, it gives you a chance, a platform to.
I don't care about me. I care about us winning the game on Saturday. And when you go in a game, you can accept that in a cup final you can accept the challenge. You just want to win it. And the last worry I have is my person in a game like that.
Right, well, he's trying to make out that it's not about him with it's an us. There is a we, no I in this conversation. However, the questions are, not going to stop until he does have this answer. So, is he actually as selfless as I'm making him out to be here, or do you think that there's ulterior motives going on and he's perhaps known a little bit more than he's given out?
I don't think there are ulterior motives. I do think that by trying to appear this selfless, as he's been doing for the last few months, he's actually damaged the team. And he admitted that last Sunday in his press conference after the Everton game, because it's created this cloud of uncertainty over the club. None of the players know if he's going to be there next year. Lots of the staff don't know if he's going to be there. And his attempt to withdraw himself from the situation has actually been more damaging. This should have been sorted out a long time ago. It reflects, I think, quite badly on Wenger and the club than it hasn't been. And it's kind of killed their season in a way which means that Wenger can't make it look as if everything he does for Arsenal when he's allowed this problem to fester.
Can you feel the blood boiling, the rage, the tone of my skin is changing colour? Okay, right, I've got a bone to pick with you, Jack, if only because I'm just not convinced anymore, where I once was, that he even knows himself. I'm now of the opinion, in fact, that there are people on the board who have basically said it's been like a minimum that you have to get top four forever. He's managed to do that for all this time, and simply because he's coming to the end of his contract, and the fact that it was looking so precarious whether they were going to do it or not, and now they actually haven't done it, that there isn't a deal on the table. And it may well come down to this meeting that they're meant to be having after the FA Cup final, which, if he doesn't win, surely there is no way back. David, come. I need some wisdom here. I mean, what are you seeing through the answers that he's been given?
Well, I think the situation seems to change from week to week because when things aren't going well, which they weren't sort of 6-7 weeks ago, before they started winning games again, it was there was a shift towards that he wouldn't be there, and then then there was all these rumours about a 2-year deal that he's supposed to have struck up. And then there's the takeover going to happen, which shifted again in his favour again. And now that doesn't seem to be happening. Now we're back in limbo again. And like Jack says, it's not even about this season or ruining this season. It's about ruining the preparation for next season as well. And they're going to start either way. They're going to start at a loss, really.
Well, you say that, but then, while City are obviously being active as possible from the get-go, we've signed Kolasinac, this guy from Schalke, who looks like he's the best left back in the Bundesliga this season, from what everyone is saying. And quite interestingly, his agent was saying that he'd signed on kind of assurances that Wenger would be there next season. What are we supposed to believe? I don't know what to think anymore.
But yeah, there are so many players who are in a similar situation.
Right.
You've got Ozil, Sanchez, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Giroud, Wilshere, Gibbs, all of their contracts are up next season. So they're all starting to think about their future, but they can't really think about it until they know who the manager's going to be. And that I think means that lots of players are thinking, well, given that I don't know what the long-term future of this club holds, I am going to go and try and find a move because I haven't got that guarantee of stability here at Arsenal that I need. And that's why it's damaging the club. And I think whatever happens with Wenger next week, there are going to be lots of players at Arsenal this summer who are now thinking, you know what, it's gone too far, there's not enough direction, there's not enough leadership, and I'm off.
Aaron Gibbs, who I believe is Kieran Gibbs' younger brother, says, I think it's time for Wenger to retire. And that's nothing to do with Kieran Gibbs, I completely made that up. But yeah, Aaron, thank you for getting involved.
I mean, it's very difficult to keep a case for Wenger right now, especially with the situation that Arsenal find themselves yet again, Groundhog Day. We seem to be doing the same thing every year. We don't seem to have made much progress in terms of the team. However, I'm hearing this thing of everyone in the top 6 has more points, so it's actually a case of the other teams are catching up with the rest of them. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, well, they've got the most points for 5th place that's ever in the Premier League, so you know that can be used as a defence as well. But I don't know what to make of it anymore. I mean, it's been great for us on this show because we've been talking about it week after week after week. It's been great. It has been.
You look like you've really enjoyed it.
But it's been great subject matter for us to get our teeth into, like, you know. Yeah. But now, give me something else to talk about.
Yeah.
The only problem, I mean, the only really depressing thing for me is that this is the last FFL of the season. So next Friday, I will have no idea how happy or upset you are.
No, because you know what? It's burning me inside seeing you this happy. Yeah. It really is. One man who is definitely leaving is Captain John Terry, who defended his, I mean, it was quite incredible, this 26th minute guard of honour. I mean, let's just have a listen to what he had to say to defend himself, because we're going to come back to this.
I don't really care what other people think. It's a celebration between me and the Chelsea fans. 22 years I've been at the football club, so honestly I couldn't care less what other people say. It's a special relationship between me and the Chelsea fans. They know what it means to me, and they give me an unbelievable send-off and one I'll never forget. But thank you for them, because it was incredible and a moment I'll never ever forget.
Very interested to know where you stand on this, because from one point of view I can really see that he is a club legend, he's an England legend, he's been there forever. And, you know, although there were those kind of Gerrardy, Rooney-ish moments where he was almost leaving, he has stayed loyal, and he kind of does deserve a decent send-off. However, the flip side of that is that it's during a game, and the opposition goalkeeper was apparently ordered to kick the ball out. What kind of farcical nonsense is this?
Weren't you going to say, wasn't Pickford injured?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Pickford got injured during one of the, I think it was the Chelsea goal, and I don't know I don't know whether he was putting it on or not, whether he was faking the injury. Just
Did he get injured in the 25th minute?
But just so it all tied in. But I mean, I was there 2 years ago when it was the exact same scenario. Chelsea had won the title, Sunderland came to town, there was nothing at stake. And it all became a bit of a pantomime. You know, they carried Didier Drogba off the pitch after about 20-25 minutes when he was injured. And there was it just becomes a procession. Now, if it is about John Terry and it is about the fans, then arrange a game, a testimonial game, a game in his honour. Then it can all be about John Terry, rather than having to move things around and affect it. I mean, he's drawn David Moyes into this as well.
Are you sticking up for Moyes?
No, I'm not really. But he was put in a position where he's come under fire for agreeing to this as well.
Right.
So he's drawn everybody else into it as well. And like I said, make a game of it.
I agree. I think that ultimately, like, the competitive integrity of the Premier League relies on, in all 380 matches, both teams trying their best and picking their best team. That is how it works. That's absolutely fundamental to the competition. If we start having a system whereby, even in one game, a team doesn't pick their best team, the other team takes a breather so they can arrange this big kind of circus to carry someone off the pitch. Like, that's wrong. Like, I know that JT was entitled to a special goodbye. He's done very well at Chelsea, and of course he was entitled to something. But I do think this kind of crossed the line about, like, how competitive football is meant to look, and it shouldn't look like that.
It's quite interesting because it's only really because of the way the season's panned out, how one-directional it's been, no pun intended, that we're in this situation. Because if there was anything at stake, they'd all be pulled up on this, surely.
Massively, yeah.
But there was something at stake. Like, you know, even if we shouldn't be talking about sort of bookmakers and gambling, but there is money at stake as well.
Right.
And there was the I don't know if it's still ongoing about John Terry and the bets that were put on that he would be substituted in 26 minutes. Yeah. But in both games, I think I'm right as well. In the first game 2 years ago, Sunderland went ahead as well. I'm not sure they equalised as quick as they did this time, but what they did was it stopped the flow of the game. Now that could have affected the end result, especially in the first game, because Sunderland they just stayed up. They drew 0-0 at Arsenal. They just survived in the Premier League, and so they could have went through and won the game as well. So it could have affected that as well.
Did you think they played quite well, Sunderland, at the beginning
of the game?
Yeah.
Oh no, they did start well. But I mean, they've started games well since they've got relegated.
Right, okay.
When the pressure's off, so it's
incredibly frustrating. Now, obviously, with the season over, the transfer window is about to kick off. I cannot wait till it's open and Arsenal start signing top-class centre forwards and replacement defenders who seem to be dropping like flies. However, We've got a hell of a lot of very tedious nonsense, and the rumours are going to be coming left, right and centre. It is with that in mind that our top 5 transfer window cliches is our top 5 today. And after that, let's drop in some of our own cliches ourselves. It's time for this week's Transfer Chat. So the City clear-out has begun. Pablo Zabaleta signing on a free transfer for West Ham United. Bakary Sagna has left the club. Clichy is out the door. Jesus Navas has gone. Who else have I missed? Caballero, Big Willie, who was doing so well, so improved since he signed for them at least. Another one that's gone. You'd think that there are plenty going to be walking through the door as well. However, like we were saying, they've signed a winger. What can we expect as far as defenders coming in? I know Kyle Walker's been linked. Is that a possibility still?
Yeah, I think that Walker will almost certainly go to City,
Right.
probably for about £40 million.
Did you see the kind of cryptic Instagram today?
I did. Well, look, Walker's wanted to leave Tottenham for a while. He's had a
Right.
big falling out with Mauricio Pochettino. Pochettino doesn't think that he's quite as fit as he should be.
Oh.
He's got doubts about his kind of performances in training and his professionalism. They've fallen out. That, of course, is why Kieran Trippier played the FA Cup semi-final, so he played the North London derby. Walker's annoyed about this, as you would be. He knows that City would double his money, and he wants to go. And I think that I think that'll happen in the next few weeks.
They want English players, obviously.
Yeah, and then after then, I think City will go for probably back to Monaco for Fabinho, the Brazilian midfielder, who's like a kind of younger, quicker Fernandinho. I think they want Bernard Mendy, the left back, also from Monaco.
So they're buying Monaco,
Yeah,
basically.
3 players. from
Can't beat them, just buy them.
Exactly.
I mean, unbelievable. Mendy looks absolutely top quality. What do we know as far as what's going on up north? Is Pickford on the move, or is he going to hang around for Championship football?
Well, that's it. There's a vacancy now at Manchester City, goalkeeper-wise,
Right.
and it is. It just shows it's unfair football. It's the fact that they spent all that money on Bravo. There was such an expectation on him to come in and be part of the football that Pep wanted to play. And at the end of the day, he's proved a flop. And Caballero's come in and he steadied,
rescued them.
Yeah, exactly. He steadied the ship, and he made one sort of small error, and he was back out again. And I can see the thinking behind it. He wants to sort of rescue Bravo's confidence for next season if he's going to be there. And also they've got Angus Gunn as well, who's come through the England under 21. So I'm not sure whether there was talk of it, and there was some talk of Pep having to be convinced about Pickford coming in and Oblak. But I think, like I said, there's a vacancy there. I think Pickford will go to Everton though.
Richie, talk to me about Manchester United for a second. They're obviously, with Mourinho's usual 2 to 3 years in the job, they're going to be going big with the aim of actually winning the title this year. Is Griezmann still happening?
Let's hope so. The only problem is that because De Gea's probably going to go. Who on earth are we going to get to replace him? Because Oblak would be high on our list, but we're not going to get Griezmann and Oblak from Atletico Madrid. So that's a possible problem. But now that we're in Champions League football, it really does bode well for getting Antoine Griezmann in.
And obviously with Zlatan still kind of touch and go as to whether he's going to be the same player again, are we expecting a striker to come in? Do we have faith in Rashford being able to lead the line at United?
I do, genuinely I do. But I would like Ibrahimovic to stay. And a lot of fans would, especially if you saw certain banners, a lot of Man United fans are desperate for Zlatan Ibrahimovic to stay. And he could oversee Rashford's development a little bit as well.
Oversee the father figure.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah. On to this week's How Hard, which is starring a man with an absolute peach of a left foot. It's England and Everton left back Leighton Baines. I'm expecting big things, mate.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may remember Leighton Baines from 30 England caps. You may remember him from having the most accurate left foot in the Premier League. Sir, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Well, I'm good, mate. What are you doing?
I'm here supporting the PlayStation Schools Cup, which is the biggest schools cup competition in the country.
What's it like having the sweetest left foot in the Premier League?
I don't know, you'd have to ask someone else, but yeah, it's. I think it's always nice to have a good left foot. Here we go.
Oh.
I don't think that's the one.
You don't like that one?
No.
Didn't enjoy that one?
I don't think so.
Because I was thinking that was a hell of a strike. Oh my gosh. Remember, he just said, I wasn't feeling that one.
Weren't feeling
Leighton
it.
Baines.
Weren't feeling it.
I mean, you might as well go home now. You just got 76 miles an hour, sir.
Oh, wow.
That's put you top of the league.
Is that it?
Like
One
2
take?
miles an hour. I was going to say to you, because I have high hopes for you, if you got above 70,
Yeah.
I'd stand in goal, point my ass at you, and give you a target. But I mean, I don't
Go
need
for it.
to.
Get yourself in there.
Attempt number 2.
There we go.
Never doing that again.
I sort of didn't really want to hit you, to be honest.
Oh, you're a nice guy, Leighton. And you are also extremely consistent.
Yeah, same
76 again.
Yeah.
This is that penalty at Old Trafford against David De Gea that he saved.
Don't want to reproduce that. That would be about 40 miles an hour. Come off my heel.
Leighton Baines steps up for the very last time for Everton.
Oh! Cut that one.
You're not finishing on that?
Nah.
Because that was 73 miles an hour.
Yeah, that was horrendous, that one.
And he's done it! And the crowd goes wild! Because that's 76 again.
Well, okay.
Absolutely spot on.
Can't beat it, can I?
Leighton Baines, I'm not going to lie, there was a lot of pressure on you because you have got the best left foot in the Premier League. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new leader! Yeah! 76 miles an hour from Sir Leighton Baines. And that won't get beaten. I don't think that's going to get beaten.
If it does, I'll come back from that again.
We appear to have a winner, don't we, Richie?
Yeah, we do.
76 miles an hour. Unbelievable stuff, especially seeing as he got it first time. However, I would have expected nothing less from a proven Premier League free kick taker. However, it does appear that David De Gea is Leighton Baines' kryptonite.
Yeah. Mind games.
I can't believe it on the third penalty, putting pressure on the English penalty taker.
And it worked.
Do you know what I mean? It worked.
High and wide.
Let's talk about the England squad anyhow. We have got some Everton links there in that Ross Barkley, who's had some kind of issues, I guess, with Koeman, has been left out, which I would say is probably the right decision because they seem to keep picking him and not actually playing the guy. Does he have a future with England? Does he have a future at Everton?
Well, I think he's probably going to leave Everton this summer.
Right.
He's got 1 year left on his contract, hasn't signed a new one. Koeman has said that he will sell him if he doesn't sign a new deal.
Okay.
I think-
Is that time period expired yet?
Yeah, it was a deadline, wasn't it?
Everton keep extending the deadline in the
right.
hope that they can actually get him to sign a new
Okay.
one. So there's quite a lot of kind of brinkmanship going on. I think the issue with Barkley is everyone knows what a talented player he is, but he's not really produced the kind of consistent form that you would want him to do. And that is why I think a series now of England managers have thought, good, but maybe not quite for me. That's why he keeps getting taken to squads, going to tournaments and not playing.
I think it's a big thing as well that even if he has got a small injury to keep him out, I would have thought that Gareth Southgate would at least brought him into the group just to be around the place and to keep him involved. And it's a
Because he should be part of the future, right?
Yeah, exactly. You would think that,
Right.
but like you said, Koeman's seen something now. Perhaps Southgate's seen something.
Yeah.
Hodgson.
Hodgson as well. Yeah. So he should be. If he had a future, I think he would be there. So it's up to him now.
If he is going to move, then where is he going to thrive? Who is going to get the best out of a player like that?
Well, I mean, Mauricio Pochettino loves Barkley,
Right.
and I think that could be a great move for him because Pochettino is the kind of slightly hard manager who I think Barkley would thrive under. Like, he'd get fitter, he'd get stronger, as everyone has done at Tottenham. He'd also have a clear idea of exactly what he wants to do on the pitch, and I think that he's actually one of the few players who could, for example, replace Moussa Dembele. He's got that same ability to beat players in the middle of the pitch, that same natural strength. And maybe if Tottenham are going to phase out Dembele, perhaps Barkley could do a job there.
But this is the thing, though. I mean, if you had the choice between the two, who would you take this summer?
Dembele.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's the problem he's up against now.
Okay, right. Focusing still in on that England squad, some other interesting absentees, including Wayne Rooney. He appears to be finished now at the very top level. People appear to have just accepted that it's not necessarily about the stats or his record. We're talking, I think, one goal in like 50 important games.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that decision. Like I saw Rooney recently away at Arsenal and away at Tottenham, and he didn't look like a top player anymore.
Right.
He's slow, he's sluggish, he can't control the ball, he can't influence the game.
Oh dear.
And unfortunately, his days as a top player are over. They've probably been over for a few years, if we're honest. And it should be no surprise that Southgate wouldn't include it.
Is there a possibility then that in this transfer merry-go-round that we're about to see, that he could end up back at Everton?
Yeah, there's an offer on the table from Everton. Basically, it comes down to, does he go to Everton for good money or China for very, very good money?
Right.
That's his decision he's making at the moment.
The thing is with Rooney as well, that the longer he doesn't play 90-minute games, he's not going to get any better. He's not going to improve, and he's not going to get anywhere near the form that he once showed. And I think we talked about Ronaldo, how he's sort of redefined his game, so he's just he's there for a purpose. He doesn't have to do the work that he used to. He's not picking the ball up from deep and running at players. And Rooney's gone the opposite way backwards. Now maybe he can do that. Maybe he should push himself forward, to put himself in that position where the quality that he does have, rather than the athletic quality, the technical talent, he can do something up front as well.
I don't think he's sharp enough anymore to just play as a number 9.
Yeah,
I don't think he's good enough in the box anymore. Unfortunately, I think.
If you were an Everton fan, what would you think of losing Ross Barkley and having Wayne Rooney replace him?
Well, the problem is they're probably going to lose Lukaku as well. And if you lose Lukaku and Barkley, you can't then get in Rooney. It just doesn't make any sense.
Now, on to slightly somber note in obviously the incredibly tragic events last week, or in the on Monday in Manchester. Manchester United dedicating their win to the people of the city. Manchester City putting out a unifying tweet as well. However, we had a slight issue in that Jesse Lingard shared this video of him singing an anti-Manchester City song, or at least a song which contained some anti-Manchester City lyrics, which some have felt was in bad taste. Our very own Dion Fanning, however, is here to break that down in slightly more detail for us.
For a lot of people, there is no getting back to normal after the Manchester attacks. Their lives have been scarred, ruined, or they may have lost someone they loved. But for other people, getting back to normal is what they have to do. Manchester United's Europa League victory was part of this process. The game was played, United won, and a City escaped for a while. On Thursday, it was announced that United and Manchester City would make a joint donation of £1 million to the fund set up for victims. City had captured the feelings of the people of Manchester by tweeting a picture with the City United hashtag at the final whistle. In this context, there were those who felt it was inappropriate that Jesse Lingard was filmed singing a song in the United dressing room which contained abusive words about Manchester City. Lingard took a different approach, but in his own way it was uplifting. This was normality too. This was a boy from Warrington singing the songs that supporters sing, and singing them with passion. What could be more normal than that? Like the supporters, he had sung it without a thought. But that was a good thing, not a bad thing. He was defiant and passionate, and he cared. The rivalry between United and City is essential to the spirit of the city. It is one of the reasons, as United fans also sing, that Manchester is wonderful.
A boy from Warrington singing songs that he probably grew up listening to his parents singing, especially his friends and fellow Manchester United fans. Has he actually done anything wrong? I mean, Richie, I'll come to you first. As a United fan, after the events, that we've all... What kind of thing? How does it?
It's exactly as Dion was saying. I watched it in a packed bar in the middle of London where there are loads of Man United fans, and everyone was singing the same song that Jesse Lingard was singing, and it just shows that he is a fan as well as a footballer. Right. And football is as much about escapism as it is about it's escaping what's going on in your life, be it work, be it whatever it could be. It's about escapism as well as supporting a club. So, and that's what it is.
So, in effect, it's basically showing that he's probably more in touch with the people.
Yeah, I think it might possibly be a case of people being offended on other people's behalf. I think if you ask any Manchester City fan, I don't think any of them would have been offended by it at all.
Right.
And I think the poem that was read out afterwards in the vigil, it showed one of defiance.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more Manchester than Manchester United and Manchester City fans having a go at each other.
Right. I mean, I feel this way about it as well. Like, I see similarities to the way that Jack Wilshere was vilified after he had won the FA Cup and had something to say about Tottenham. This is what you want from your players. You want them to believe that they're not just playing for a corporation, that they're actually invested in your club.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I think that there's this huge, or we often talk about this dislocation between the fans and the players.
Right.
The players don't care about the fans don't know who the players are. And it should be refreshing when we see a player who kind of identifies with the fans and is one of the fans, like Wilshere and Tottenham, like Lingard and City. I think it's something to be celebrated, not to get so stupidly upset about.
Right, possibly a case of the PC brigade jumping out of the pram a little bit too early, which they seem to love to do these days. Let's just, whilst we're talking about celebrating, I mean, Jose was pretty happy, especially after saying that he wasn't really bothered about the Europa Cup. I haven't seen him like that for a while, rolling around with some random man on the floor.
That was his son.
His son. Yeah.
That's his son.
maybe it's worse. I don't know.
Do you know what, Jose? Yeah. I'll let you off. Right? I'd not seen the guy before. I'm thinking, what's going on here?
But you know why you hadn't seen that before?
Right.
It's because he hadn't done it before. You look at all the accolades and the titles he's won over the years. He's almost been dismissive. You know, when he's won Champions League, he's just pulled his medal off, and then he's given the impression, he's moving to another club in the case of Porto. But he just sort of like, right, I've won that. That's what I expect. I get on with it now, and it just all seems so contrived and so forced. Right. You know, and like you said, he has never been that. I mean, even in his private life, he's probably never been that happy or showed that much glee in his life.
And you know what those four fingers represent?
I really don't, because
it's the fact that he's going for the quadruple of the Charity Shield, the League Cup, the Europa League, and then the Super Cup.
Wow, incredible. Are we sure it's not 4 European trophies? Either way, I mean, it was a little bit audacious of him to come out and force his own players to put up 3 fingers. I'm just thinking how
the real
petty
treble,
is this guy really?
The treble that matters.
No, okay, yeah, you're way too happy for my liking, mate.
Quite like that.
We're moving on. We've cut that short. We're moving on. Now, as the season draws to a close, we caught up with some of the great and the good to have a look back at the season.
As a Man United fan, what would make you happy next season, David?
Well, you know, I'd be happy for us to lose every single game next season, so long as we win the league, of course, you know.
No, listen, I'm never watching the Premiership again. You know, all that John Terry stuff, absolute nonsense. Nonsense. See the boy kicking the ball out Jordan after 26 minutes? I can't accept that. And if you were manager, Roy, what would you have done? I would have shoved his head down the toilet and flushed it 26 times. Without a doubt.
Absolutely marvellous season for Man United and the players. To qualify for the Champions League and get silverware, great season.
United were awful. You know what I mean? Crap players. And a manager would have faced them like a bulldog chewing a wasp. He really does. So, you know, for me, give me Jurgen Klopp any day.
Piss off, Carragher.
Very mature.
Yeah, it was a great season. You know, I can't wait for next year to play in the Champions League and, you know, to challenge for the title and bottle it like we always do at the end and win no trophies. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's really wonderful in this moment to have qualified for the Champions League, yeah.
You actually only qualified for the qualifiers, Jurgen. You have to play another game to qualify.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Shit. Boom. Again, I am European champion. This is my 5th trophy this season.
5th?
I think so.
You mean it's your 2nd trophy, Jose?
What would you know? This is my 5th trophy. Write that down.
Okay.
And I am the humble one. Write that down too.
Okay, humble, okay.
H-U-M-B.
No, I'm very happy. More than you believe, But I think about you all the time. I hear you are single again. Maybe we could go for coffee? Hello? Barcelona? Hello, Barcelona?
Now it's time for this week's betting battle with 888sport. There it is, beautiful scenes as one of us has finally come good. Every week, if you don't know, our panellists are given £10 each by 888sport to place a single bet on one game from the weekend's fixtures. All the winnings, you know, there's not much there, but all the winnings do go to charity. £35 for yours truly last time around with a treble. David, talk to me.
Yeah, William owes me a tenner.
Oh,
And actually, he owes me 800 quid. That's what he owes me. It was 80-1 last week.
Oh, mate.
He scores in the first 10 minutes and then doesn't go near the goal again.
Absolute nightmare. William, you're a marked man. You've got one more chance, however, to put things right. David, talk to me.
I'm going to go for Chelsea to win,
right?
Obviously, and Costa to score first, which is.
That is, David, you will get odds of 14-1 for that.
Okay. 140
Not bad, not bad. What about you, Jack? Who are you going for this weekend?
I've gone for 3-0 to Chelsea.
Wow.
Aiden Hazard first goal scorer. I just think that the
realistic.
Per Mertesacker hasn't started a game since April of last year.
Yeah.
The prospect of Hazard running at him is only going to end one way. sorry to say.
Frightening prospect of anyone running with Mertesacker in the same sentence. 3-0 is quite likely, I guess.
Very realistic.
I'm really struggling to find anyone on the planet who thinks Arsenal are going to win, especially with Koscielny out, Gabriel out. We're going to be having a back three probably of Mertesacker, Monreal and Holding.
Ooh, Jack, for quite a realistic scoreline, you get 26-1.
Wow.
Painful. Well, I mean, this will be decent if it comes in for charity. However, charity's going to have to take a back seat this time round. Sorry, mate. I am going for... I'm actually ashamed of myself. I'm going for a Chelsea win.
What? You're betting against your own team?
And well, it's like I can't lose then, can I? And then I'm going for a Huddersfield to beat Reading as well in the Championship playoff.
Okay.
I think Reading are a little bit too expansive to be able to pull it off.
And you, sir, you get 3-1.
3-1. That's great.
That's proper Wizzy odds.
Wheel that one back in. And that is, I guess my chance to say good luck to everyone. Hope it actually works. And we're pulling for you, charity. Jack, you were in Lille this week.
I was. So I went to the unveiling of their new manager, the legendary Marcelo Bielsa. Because they've got quite an interesting new thing going on at Lille. They've just been bought by Gerard Lopez, who's the owner of the Lotus F1 team. He's putting
big money.
He's a billionaire investor who's putting a fair bit of his own money in to try and make Lille the new Monaco.
Right.
So they've appointed Bielsa, who's been out of work for a while. They've appointed Luis Campos, who used to be the chief scout at Monaco, the guy who found Bernardo Silva, Fabinho, Mendy, Sidibe, all these guys.
Blimey.
So he really knows what he's doing. And the idea is that they're going to buy lots of the next generation of really talented young players from France and South America and the rest of Europe. They'll be coached by Bielsa. They'll get really good. They'll sell them on at a profit. They'll be so basically exactly the Monaco blueprint. I went there. It's a fantastic setup. Like they've got their training ground looks like a university. It's in the middle of nowhere on the border between Belgium and France. They've got fantastic facilities. Everything is set up for them to be the next force. They only came 11th in Ligue 1 last year, which, given the standard of the league, shows you what they're like. But don't worry. If you keep an eye on them for the next year or two, they are going places.
Very interesting. In fact, I just find the whole of Ligue 1 and its potential growth over the next couple of years quite exciting, if only because I enjoy watching it in the first place, but because you've got this kind of the extremes of like PSG and the rest of the league, now with Marseille having more money and really trying to get back into being a European force again, with Monaco doing incredible things and
Nice
Pippin,
were good this year.
right? It's an exciting proposition.
Absolutely.
The money that they're going to be bringing in from the amount of talent that is being sold left, right and centre should make the league a lot more competitive as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of self-perpetuating because as soon as people see, oh look, there's a team in Ligue 1, they've had a bit of investment, they're going well, and it's now kind of a cool, glamorous place to be. That's more of an incentive for outside investors to buy another team. And I think eventually we'll see more and more investors buying into France. It's easier to buy a club in France than it is in Germany for technical reasons. And I think therefore over the long term the standard of the league will only increase. And of course what they have there is a fantastic pool of players, probably the better pool of players than we have here. And that means that if you get the investment right, then you can really go places.
Yeah, what about Bielsa though? I mean, he's got a lot of disciples. He's heralded as this great coach. Do you think he just went there because rather than go to a club that's higher up, there's maybe more expectation? He's went for in at Lille because he thinks there's that much potential and he can't lose really.
Exactly. I think ultimately he'd rather work. He doesn't really want to work with top players and established players. He'd rather work with young players. He'd rather work in a system where they're really, really pleased to have him and he gets to be the big guy. I think ultimately his style of management, which is so abrasive, so confrontational, so specific, Like he always falls out with people in the end, and that means that ultimately a top club isn't going to take a punt on him. Whereas I think Lille is actually the perfect setting for him.
Do you think that's why he's got the team he's got now, which is basically a young side that he can sort of mould himself?
Well, it's quite an interesting contrast between the two of them because like Pochettino worships Bielsa. He was his manager at Newell's Old Boys, Argentina Espanyol. He sees him as being his like father figure in football, his mentor, and their philosophy of football is very similar. But as people, they're quite different. Like Pochettino is very matey. He's very amiable. He gets on with all the players, all the press, and everything. Whereas Bielsa, I think, is much more like. He's much more driven, or not driven, but he's much more kind of academic. He's less matey. He spends a lot of time just kind of watching videos, reading his textbooks, and he hasn't got that kind of personal touch that Pochettino has. And I think that's why Pochettino has actually managed perhaps a little bit more sustained success so far than Bielsa has.
Fantastic insight there from our man Jack. Now, with news on the social and the voting results, it's Richie Drift.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, our vote this week, I'm not going to lie, for the very last episode of FFL for this season was slightly tongue-in-cheek, but you've taken it on face value. It was who is your hero of the season. So, bottom place with 8% is Sunderland's very own David Moyes. Third, with a share of 11%, Manchester City's Claudio Bravo. Next is the person that I thought was my personal hero of the season, with 34% Arsene Wenger, just for providing me as much entertainment and ammunition against Hugh as possible, which means, Top, you voted your hero of the season, and I cannot actually argue with this after his performance on Wednesday. Top, with 47%, your hero of the season, Marouane Fellaini.
Indeed it should be as well. One of the most underappreciated players in Manchester United's recent history. He's integral to the Pulis style that they are trying to employ. He can play in any position up and down the pitch. I'd stick him in goal, he'd probably be half decent. And yeah, he's done himself and United very proud. Don't deny it, mate.
Pulis style football, he says.
Now, I just want to thank everyone. Basically, we're going to wrap it up here, but just to say, if you have joined in or tuned in throughout the season, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we want to thank you from the bottom of our little lovely hearts. I want to thank 888 Sport. I want to thank the guests, the panel that we've had on throughout the season. It's been an absolute pleasure being involved in this. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. We will be back next year, but until then, I hope you've enjoyed it. Enjoy the Champions League final, and we'll see you next time, people. For now, though, I've been here with you, and we're out of here.